There's new audio in this morning after a crazy near mid-air collision. A JetBlue flight leaving the small Caribbean nation of Curacao en route to New York had to abruptly stop its ascent to avoid colliding with a U.S. Air Force plane. The JetBlue pilot spoke to air traffic control basically as this played out. Just listen to this.
We almost had a mid-air collision up here. Traffic passed directly in front of us within 5 miles of us, maybe 2-3 miles, but it was an air-to-air refueler from the United States Air Force. They don't have their transponder turned on. It's outrageous. We had to stop our climb and actually descend to avoid hitting them.
The flight was near, that JetBlue plane was near Venezuela at the time, which is notable because the incident comes as the U.S. military has stepped up its campaign and presence there amid President Trump's anti-drug trafficking campaign in the Caribbean, and also the attempts to continue to increase pressure on Venezuela's government. JetBlue now says that they've reported the incident to federal authorities. Joining me right now is CNN transportation analyst Mary Schiavo. Mary, that audio, that back and forth with air traffic control is quite something. What do you make of this?
Well, it was a near collision, and fortunately the pilots were doing what you're supposed to do, look out the window at all time to see and avoid, even if you're traversing the skies on instrument flight rules, as commercial passenger jets always are. But what this says to me is this rather lukewarm warning that the Federal Aviation Administration put out a couple weeks ago saying avoid Venezuelan airspace is not nearly detailed enough, does not give pilots and airlines enough information. And this situation is really a disaster waiting to happen, because it's also coming out that there might be another one with a smaller plane that might have also happened at or near the same time. So much more guidance is needed, because there have been many mid-airs in the past with military planes.
From that audio, you hear the pilot say that the Air Force jet did not have its transponder on. Is that surprising? What's the reason to turn that off?
Well, you know, this is a scenario that we're seeing over and over again. I mean, this was the helicopter at DCA back in January. So they turn it off because they want to be in stealth mode, because it's either their mission, because they don't want to be seen. They literally don't want to be seen by other traffic or others in the air or on the ground, or air traffic control, hostile air traffic control. And it's the same thing here. The warning went out that there would be operations, that there's danger over Venezuela, but I don't think that the warning was specific in saying that there's going to be very large U.S. military aircraft operating with no transponder, because that's how the collision avoidance works. You have to be seen by other aircraft and air traffic control, or collision avoidance systems simply don't work. And this is a big issue for American commercial aviation. You can't really operate without it.
Yeah, I mean, given where this took off from and where it was during this near collision, who investigates?
Well, that's very interesting. And of course, there's another organization, ICAO, International Civil Organization, Aviation Organization, that also sets international flight rules. So it's always a combination. It's a combination of the flag nation of the carrier, that would be the United States, of the air traffic controller, which would be Curacao. And certainly I think that the Federal Aviation Regulation will take the lead, because it was a U.S. aircraft on both sides. It was the interloper aircraft without the transponder, and it was a commercial jet. And particularly this time of year, there's tremendous traffic back and forth to the Caribbean. So the FAA will undoubtedly be investigating, and they should issue better guidance, because the number of civilian planes brought down near military interventions, we had Malaysia Airlines 17, that was back in 2020. We had our 2014, and then we had Ukrainian Airlines in 2020, and those were both brought down during skirmishes or war actions. So we need better guidance out of the FAA to protect not only U.S. aircraft, but others. I mean, the Caribbean's very busy this time of year.
Yeah, I mean, and clearly the last thing that the FAA and the Pentagon wants is a collision of an American carrier passenger jet and a U.S. military plane. I mean, to your point, if there's a lack of clarity and guidance, this seems to be a moment when it's needed yesterday, not tomorrow.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, there's chatter about, well, they weren't really that close. Yes, they are. Under 29 1,000 feet, you're supposed to be 1,000 feet vertical separation. And depending, there's a lot of, different scenarios, but 3 to 5 miles lateral separation. According to the pilot report, maybe they were right on the edge of a loss of separation in a near midair, but it is close enough that it's time for better guidance.
Yeah. Mary, thank you so much. It is really good to see you, and we're always thankful for your expertise here.